What if you could travel back in time to an era that shaped the world as we know it today? An era of sweeping change and seismic shifts, where the birth of a new political ideology would forever alter the course of history. That era was the early 20th century, and the ideology, fascism. Born in Italy, fascism was the brainchild of one man, Benito Mussolini. A journalist turned politician, Mussolini was a charismatic and dynamic figure. His powerful speeches and forceful personality captivated the Italian people, igniting a fervor of nationalism that would become a cornerstone of fascist ideology. Fascism was not just a political stance, but a complete way of life. It was an ideology that embraced authoritarianism, championing the idea of a single powerful leader with absolute authority. This leader, it was believed, would guide the nation to greatness, steering it through the turbulent waters of the early 20th century. But fascism was not content with just reshaping the political landscape. It sought to change society from the ground up. It rejected the very concept of democracy, viewing it as weak and ineffectual. Instead, fascism promoted the idea of a unified and harmonious society, one where the interests of the individual were secondary to those of the nation. The heart of fascism was the belief in the superiority of one's own nation and people. It was an ideology that fostered a strong sense of national pride, and one that was deeply rooted in the past. It looked back to the glory days of the Roman Empire, seeking to recreate its power and prestige in a modern context. Fascism, a word that originated from the Latin term fasces, was more than just an ideology. It was a movement that would change the course of history. A symbol of authority in ancient Rome, the fasces consisted of a bundle of rods bound together around an axe, representing strength through unity. And indeed, through unity and the forceful assertion of nationalistic ideals, fascism would leave an indelible mark on the world, one that continues to influence us today. Fascism did not remain confined to Italy. It caught fire and spread across Europe. Like an insidious fog, this authoritarian ideology seeped into the very fabric of various societies, leaving a mark that would forever change the course of history. A prime example of this expansion was Nazi Germany. Adolf Hitler, buoyed by a wave of discontent after the Treaty of Versailles, seized this opportunity to promote a brand of fascism that was uniquely German National Socialism. This was a chilling blend of extreme nationalism, racial purity, and totalitarianism, all underpinned by a fervent belief in the supremacy of the Aryan race. Hitler's charismatic leadership and his promise of a renewed Germany resonated with a population reeling from economic hardship and a bruised national pride. He skillfully manipulated public sentiment, using propaganda to stoke fears and prejudices, while painting an enticing vision of a powerful, prosperous Germany. This was fascism, but with a different face. Hitler's version was more expansive, more aggressive, and ultimately more devastating. It was a political wildfire that consumed not only Germany, but much of Europe as well. The impact of this fascist expansion was cataclysmic, leading directly to the outbreak of World War II. This was a global conflict on an unprecedented scale, with millions of lives lost and entire nations devastated. It was a war fueled by the dangerous ideology of fascism, a war that showcased the very worst of human potential when driven by hate and fear. The devastation wrought by fascism was not just physical. It was a psychic wound that scarred the collective consciousness of humanity. It forced us to confront the dark side of our nature, the capacity for cruelty and intolerance that can lurk beneath the veneer of civilization. Fascism, a spark ignited in Italy, turned into a wildfire that consumed much of Europe and triggered the most destructive war in human history. This was the evolution of fascism, a chilling reminder of the potential cost of unchecked authoritarianism and the power of dangerous ideologies. With the end of World War II, the world heaved a sigh of relief as fascist regimes fell. But was it the end of fascism? In the aftermath of the war, the fall of fascist regimes was swift and decisive. From Europe to Asia, the iron grip of fascism loosened, and countries began their journey towards recovery and democracy. Key fascist leaders were put on trial in a series of high-profile proceedings. These trials served not just as a form of retribution, but also as a stark reminder of the atrocities committed under fascist rule. The Nuremberg trials, for example, brought Nazi war criminals to justice, while the Tokyo trials dealt with Japanese leaders. However, the fall of fascist regimes did not mean the end of fascism as an ideology. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, fascist ideologies have experienced a resurgence in various parts of the world, albeit in different forms. From far-right political movements in Europe to ultra-nationalist groups in Asia, shades of fascism can still be seen today. But why this resurgence? The reasons are complex and multifaceted. Economic instability, fears over loss of cultural identity, and disillusionment with traditional political structures all play a part. However, it's important to remember that while these movements may echo aspects of fascism, they aren't carbon copies of the regimes of the past. The resurgence of fascist ideologies has significant implications. It challenges the notion of progress and forces us to question whether we've truly learned from history. It reminds us that ideas, even dangerous ones, can persist and evolve over time. However, this resurgence also provides an opportunity. It serves as a call to action, a reminder to remain vigilant, to challenge hate and intolerance wherever they arise, and to protect the principles of democracy and equality upon which our societies are built. While the world may have thought that fascism died with World War II, it has proven to be a resilient ideology, re-emerging in various forms across the globe. Fascism, a term that originated in the 20th century, continues to resonate in the 21st. This political ideology, born from the ashes of World War I, rapidly spread its wings across Europe, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Its fall, post-World War II, was as dramatic as its rise. But make no mistake, the specter of fascism didn't disappear entirely. It simply morphed, rising again in various forms and regions, a testament to its enduring appeal to certain segments of society. Today, the legacy of fascism is seen in the rise of far-right movements and authoritarian regimes worldwide. Its influence can be seen in the polarized politics, the manipulation of nationalistic sentiments, and the erosion of democratic norms. Fascism's legacy is a stark reminder of the dangers of extremism and the importance of vigilance in preserving democratic values. As we reflect on the legacy of fascism, we are reminded of the words of philosopher George Santayana: "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it."